Hello info person, this is Anton, and today we're going to discuss the fascinating concept of mega tsunamis, kind of like the ones we see in the movies, but in real life. And something that we've discussed just over a year ago, because there was a really massive mega tsunami detected in Greenland. You can learn about this in one of the videos in the description. But why are we talking about this again? Well, because they happened again and more than once in the last couple of years. But I guess much more importantly because one of the biggest ones we've ever seen, a tsunami over 400 meters in height, only happened in August of 2025. So just a few months ago. But another one that happened a little bit earlier, the one in Canada, has now been finally analyzed, and we now have a lot more to discuss here. Or, in other words, in just the last few years, there's actually been a relatively large increase in these mega tsunamis, with three really large ones happening in the span of just a couple of years. And so let's discuss this concept a little bit more, but first let's actually talk about what mega tsunamis are and what they're not. Because normally, when you hear the word tsunami, you may picture something that's produced by an earthquake and something that travels across the planet, potentially causing destruction to different locations. But these are usually caused by the movement of tectonic plates and do affect the entire ocean basin and not just the immediate location. But typically, these ordinary tsunamis, even powerful ones, do not exceed heights of about 30 meters of 100 feet, except for some super rare locations on the planet. But we are actually discussing a different concept known as mega tsunami, and despite the similar names, they're an entirely different phenomenon. This is not created by a tectonic shift, but usually by some kind of substantial and sudden displacement of material, normally dirt, ground, rocks, or a large part of the mountain, that plunges directly into a body of water, displacing everything all at once. And though it could be also caused by some kind of a volcanic eruption, or maybe even some kind of a very large meteoroid striking the planet, in the majority of cases in the last few years, it was mostly the result of some kind of a landslide or rock slide.
Oh, that's pretty interesting, huh?
Displacement creates an immense splash, resulting in waves
They're just doing
meters in height.
with that class, they're doing all different, they're learning about the holotropic breathing and different breathing exercises. They're totally enthralled and amazed at all the different breathing exercises that they never knew about. You can make your own up, different patterns.
Really have an official definition. We commonly use this to refer to
But no, there are good basic ones. The holotropic one is interesting.
These waves are always localized. They're very powerful near the source, and they usually rise to their peak within just minutes. But they also
they're doing all the breathing and
farther away from the location.
Controlled coughing. I think that's funny.
There's another important phenomenon they create that was officially confirmed just a few months back. But it was once again this event in 1958 that cemented this concept of mega tsunami and made it an official phenomenon. But it was always believed to be maybe kind of rare.
Right, it's almost the difference, like say if you're just kind of like talking and mumbling, like talking like this, right, but if you kind of stiffen it up a little bit and speak a little more sharp and direct, right, it's kind of the same aspect, I think.
And you can probably guess why they started to happen so suddenly. But we'll come back to this in a few minutes as well. Let's actually first discuss the most recent and
right, and then also
literally nobody expected. Something that happened not so far away
sitting up
from,
that straight as far as slouching and being in that slouch position a lot, which I do all the time. I catch myself, but I remember, throughout the day.
To see what it's going to look like in a few months when they update the images. But we do have
every once in a while,
This is from the USGS website. And here we do have a before and after picture.
Right, it helps
showing us
to not get...
and this right here was the source. This enormous chunk of mountain.
Yeah, that curvature as well in the spine, and also build up in the lungs and stuff. They say it makes a huge difference. Yeah, they say people that posture has a huge impact on build up in your lungs and stuff. It's been proven.
By the Alaska Earthquake Center, which saw a very unusual minor earthquake at 5:30 a.m. But the scale of this collapse was immense. This involved 100 million cubic meters of material, involving a huge amount of rock, collapsing and striking down the edge of the glacier, that then added 57 million cubic meters of ice, mixing and entering the water all at once. with the resulting displacement generating an enormous weight. Right now, based on the scientific analysis of the satellite data and the destruction we see on the ground, the maximum run-up height was approximately 470 to 500 meters or 1,500 to 1,600 feet. So just a little bit smaller than the Lituya Bay in 1958. And so this incredible measurement from the 2025 Tracy Arm megatsunami is now the second tallest megatsunami ever detected in history. And it just happened a few months back. And here the destructive force becomes pretty apparent if you just look at the photos. All of the vegetation below a certain height was completely eliminated, and even underlying rock and soil were displaced as well. In certain locations, huge house-sized chunks of rock were displaced by hundreds of meters. But surprisingly, even after traveling for about 5.6 kilometers and approaching this island, the wave was still pretty high, because even the vegetation on this island did not survive. So it was at least two...
Yeah, very cool. Neat. Alright, so poor posture, particularly slouching and forward head posture, restricts chest expansion and compresses the diaphragm, reducing the lung capacity, studies found, up to 30%. This compression limits deep breathing, leading to inefficient gas exchange, reduced oxygen intake, and potential buildup of carbon dioxide, resulting in fatigue, shallow breathing, and decreased respiratory efficiency. Really good thing to learn about, huh? I mean, all the money that goes into study these things, why don't you ever want to reveal the results and your findings? Dipshits. Fucking nasty people. Slouching forward head posture restricts the chest and abdominal space, preventing the lungs from expanding fully. A slouch position compresses the abdominal muscles, inhibiting the diaphragm's ability to pull air into the lungs. Poor posture encourages shallow, inefficient breathing that relies more on accessory muscles in the neck and shoulders. The decreased capacity leads to lower oxygen intake and reduced clearance of carbon dioxide, which can cause fatigue and decreased mental clarity. That forward posture, some now call it the text neck. It used to be called pigeon. Some have different terms for it over the years. There was a time where text didn't exist, so it had book. You bookie, they had the book neck from always being. Right. So we don't get rid of texting or books, right? You know, we just kind of... I remember when we worked at LL Bean, they used to ring the bell. Every 15 minutes, you'd hear the bell go off, and that meant raise your hands, stretch your fingers, look away from the screen. Okay, back to work. All right, it was just a thing. Every 15 minutes, you'd hear that bell. All right. Poor posture encourages shallow breathing and inefficient breathing. It relies more on accessory muscles in the neck and shoulders. The decreased capacity leads to lower oxygen intake and reduced clearance of carbon dioxide, which can cause fatigue and decreased mental clarity. That was a repeat. We're back to text neck. Forward head posture, text neck. Looking down at devices causes a forward head posture that hinders deep breathing and decreases respiratory efficiency. So a lot of people have learned they'll lean back. Right, so you have different stuff that can hold your devices. For those that can't do that, they're learning to kind of not always be in that position. I catch myself doing it, like, I've been like that a while. Feel the stiffness set in. Right, but it's not always like just using the phone. I might just be reading a book or coloring. Just sitting here, talking to myself. Standing. Sometimes a standing position can be bad for your circulation. It depends. All right. Oh, it feels good to sit down. Oh man, I gotta stand up. Fucking sitting here forever. Fucking bullshit. Oh yeah, just every once in a while. Proper alignment prevents strain on the muscles used for breathing. Improved overall health. Better posture encourages deeper breathing, which helps maintain oxygen levels, lowers stress, and can improve energy levels. To improve your breathing, focus on keeping your shoulders back, chest lifted, and your core engaged, particularly if you are in a seated position for extended periods. I feel that when my posture, yeah, you get more sore and different issues going on if you are slouched. Right, so what is that? Like the core, you feel that when you straighten up and you stiffen, but it almost feels like you're having to work to do that. I can understand. Just want to kind of slouch. Oh, you can go back and forth. I think that's actually best to not be in one sitting, standing, slouched, straight position too long. You just only your God knows. I'm sorry, your conscience, the thing that's thinking, whatever you want to call that. Dear Lord, you are the sun. It's all right, little darling. I said it's all right. 'Cause you are the sun, little darling. You are the sun. And I said it's all right. Oh, see what you did? The fucking dog's going. I can't even sing a song. Fuck this place. I don't mind the dogs barking. See, that's the thing. I don't mind. I know. See, and then someone else might mind the dog barking. And now it's my fault. I'm the problem. Anyways. All right. Stretches, breathing, controlled cough, art class. The breathing and controlled coughing really sometimes bring out some interesting mistakes that fit so well in some of our artwork. Thank goodness you fell over.
In height, even here. But luckily for us,
I know.
There was no one around to witness it, and so nobody died. No injuries, no fatalities, no damage. Actually, a little bit of damage. Some kayaking equipment on the harbor island was reportedly swept away. But just like the previous mega tsunami in 2023 in Greenland, this one here also generated something we didn't actually know existed until now. Here, a completely new physical phenomenon seems to form inside these fjords because of their very narrow geography. They seem to produce what's known as a sage, essentially a kind of a sloshing phenomenon that you usually see in a bathtub or in any small body of water.
It's like a mix between sash and sage. A sage.
And continuously sloshes around. And while we
what
know
did he
that
say?
the 2023
A sage?
tsunami generated a sage that lasted for at least 1 week. But surprisingly, even here, the water seemed to slosh back and forth across a large segment of the fjord for at least 34 hours. And this was also surprisingly visible to these seismic detectors because it was this really bizarre shaking the sage was producing. What I guess what's not clear right now is why exactly did the sage only last for 34 hours, but the one in Greenland lasted for 9 days. Either way, these bizarre phenomena seem to be unique to
I am satiated.
and definitely result in additional damage to everything nearby, because in this case, the waves they produce are very likely enormous in size. But, as I mentioned, the crazy arm event is not an isolated incident. It seems to be a part of a pattern visible across different Arctic regions that started happening more and more. And that's because except for the Dixon Fjord or the Greenland mega tsunami in 2023, and apart from this one in Alaska, we actually have another one in December of 2024 on the Tahini River in Yukon. So essentially very close to where this is, but in Canada. But in this case, this was caused by something a little bit different. Here, a very steep slope seems to have failed above the Tahini River, resulting in a landslide of approximately 118,000 cubic meters of ice
the
earth
VID
mixture.
administration.
But because the river itself was
And
already
now it doesn't
frozen,
appear.
he
So
basically
what they're saying
predicted
is
bizarre
our
ice-started
deal
tsunami,
that
or
allowed
essential
them to
tsunami
enrich
covered entirely in huge
when
chunks of ice.
Biden came
And the
in,
wave here was so
and
powerful that was
our
easily
deal
able
that
to
never
rip
said
off
they
trees
couldn't have
and move
a
huge
weapon, they
chunks
just
of
had to
ice
wait
for
and
hundreds of
delay it,
meters. He was
and
even
there would
able
be
to
no
displace
snap
ice that was
inspection.
frozen solid on the bottom
Our
of the
deal
river,
allowed
implying
them to get
an
all the
enormously
revenue they
powerful
want and
wave. All
rearm.
of this was recently
And then
reported
Trump
in this study
stopped
you can
that,
find in the description.
and
And
they
the
were
thing is,
scared
over the
stiff
last
to
10
enrich
years,
to
there's actually
weapons
been a
grade
clever
or
pattern
air
of these
weapons
events
grade. Then when
happening
they saw
in
Biden,
really
what he
similar
did in
locations,
Ukraine,
but
oh,